So when those 500 were disqualified, that means you then fell under the number of signatures you needed, and that number was 23. So you fell 23 signatures short.
Absolutely. It's really, it is heartbreaking for the campaign. We were disappointed with that. But believe me, McGraw, compared to the cancer and epilepsy patients that are out there that really need to have this medical treatment option, that's the people that are really going to suffer because of the judge's ruling.
Who challenged it in court? Was there a group or an organization, or was this just a normal review of the signatures?
So it's a normal review of the signatures, but there was a party that intervened in this case, and that was a group of about a dozen prosecutors from across Missouri, including the St. Louis City and the St. Louis County prosecutor. Now, obviously, there's no crime in St. Louis. They shouldn't, they have plenty of time, money, and resources to be dedicating to issues like this as opposed to dealing with violent crime in St. Louis. So we were stunned that prosecutors would actually jump in to this issue. And again, we're only talking about getting this issue on the ballot, not necessarily, this isn't a question of whether it should pass and become law or not. So we were stunned that prosecutors were using their limited time and resources to fight these signatures in court.
Now, we're talking about medical marijuana, where you have to go to a doctor and then have to go to some special clinic to go get your marijuana?
Yeah, absolutely. The goal of this campaign was to make Missouri the 26th state that allows state licensed physicians to recommend medical marijuana to patients with serious and debilitating illnesses. And it really puts the power in the hands of the doctor. And that's where the power ought to be. It shouldn't lie with, when it comes to your medical and healthcare treatment options and decisions, bureaucrats, politicians shouldn't be in charge of that. That ought to be doctors and patients making those decisions. And so, yes, under this, our proposed amendment, a doctor is the only one that can recommend that to patients.
Was this the first time that you guys have tried to do this?
This is the first time. This has been proposed in the past, but really this was the first time there was an organized effort, a coalition of doctors and patients and veterans that all came together with the goal of making Missouri the 26th state to allow this. And so while we were, disheartened by the judge's ruling this week, we take some pride in the fact that we have put this issue on the course of inevitability here in Missouri.
So is that safe to say that you guys will be back in 2 years to try and do this again?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we will be back. I mean, when we've done polling and looked at this, there's a ton of support out there. And frankly, McGraw, a lot of that support comes from libertarians throughout Missouri. People that really don't think the government ought to be involved in these decisions. I mean, we're at a point now where cancer patients, epilepsy patients, they can't even discuss this issue with their doctor. And that's a shame, because a doctor and a patient ought to be able to making these decisions themselves.
So let me get this straight, Jack Cardetti. In Missouri, if you are suffering from debilitating pain, your doctor is allowed to prescribe to you medical heroin, but not allowed to discuss medical marijuana.
That is, in fact, the state of the law as we sit here today. And to me, and to most people, that is crazy talk. And that's why this law will change at some point. 25 other states have done it. They've had produced some really good results. I mean, this is the compassionate thing to do for those patients out there that are suffering with these debilitating illnesses.
What do you say to the person who says, that's what you say, but people are going to abuse the medical side of this and just get it legally for recreational purposes?
Well, that's why the doctor here is the gatekeeper. Only a state licensed physician is the one that can recommend this. They have to go through that step first, and so it really is a medical decision, and that's how it should be.
Jack Cardetti, interesting. 23 votes short. Whose mistake was it? Was it an innocent mistake? Was it your mistake? Was it the signature people's mistake? Who made the mistake ultimately to give people the wrong ballot?
So, McGraw, what county do you reside in?
St. Charles County.
Would you be, if I told you that you had actually possibly signed a St. Louis County petition here, would that surprise you?
No.
That is, in fact, the case.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. You were one of those signatures that were thrown out.
Really? So,
Absolutely.
So you checked to see what I did, and I signed this. So I'm one of the 23 people.
No, you're one of the 500 that was thrown out.
So I'm one of the 500 reasons why we don't have medical marijuana on the ballot.
Well, and again, I didn't check because I was coming on the show today. We checked because we tried to admit those 500 signatures in court, and they were thrown out, and you were one of those 500.
Wow, that's interesting. How come I didn't have a chance to testify and say, I signed this? Why is this,
Well, clearly we put more credible people up on the stand than you.
All right, you don't know me well enough to make fun of me yet. You got to be on the show a couple more times. All right, Jack Cardetti with the new approach of Missouri. Jack, thanks for checking out.
Thanks, guys.
You got it.